Alrighty, hi everybody, this is the 420 mic rod coming to you. I know it's been about 2 weeks or so since our last update, or a week or so. Just had some, didn't really want to show anything. We had a couple of plants into shock, which are right here in the closet. We had a pH drop and an issue with one of the chemicals we were using. It was a trial chemical to use, and won't be using it again. It has a really major fluctuation with the pH. You know, I hate to bash a product, and I don't want to, but it's a product called Oxygrodon. It's made to deliver dissolved oxygen to your water and your plants via the roots when you add it to your water and your reservoir. But unbeknownst to me, it sharply rises the pH as the water starts to get a little warmer. But that's how it activates. The Oxygrodon activates as the water gets slightly warmer during the day, and it releases the dissolved oxygen into the water, into the roots. But at the same time, then the salts that are built into the whatever chemical reaction that's in it drives the pH either very, very high, or it just drops the pH uncontrollably. And we had a drop in pH, and we had a lot of yellowing of some of the lower branches that were here, and they drooped out a lot. And so, and we all, as you can see, we also lost the two auto flowers that we had here that were also highly affected by the pH drops. But they were doing very well at that time, and they both were just about starting to bud. Unfortunately, we had to transplant them somewhere far away from here, and we put them in the dirt, and we'll see if they grow. If they don't, they don't. But that's the way things are sometimes. Anyway, back to the basics of my hydroponics. Changed the water, gave it a nice flush. The Oxygrodon, I gotta say, does do well though when you use it with Clearex and or any kind of flushing agent. So that that is a good thing for when we're doing our reservoir cleanings and changes. But to use as a constant product for hydroponics, I have to say I'd stay away from it for a while. Using the stated amounts that they say to use, like I said, really gave me a funk in my water, and it just didn't do well, and it just had a really bad chemical reaction. So anyway, these are the 4 Ladiva Blue Diesel cross with our black fruit, which is a grapefruit and blackwater mix. And this is a product of Planet Green Toe Genetics. Hopefully, he will be doing some more genetic building here in the future. I had to tell him straight up that the black fruit is a very, very hardy plant and great genetics. It had great genes. Very, 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 very sturdy plant, and very strong as far as when it comes to the stems and any kind of root structures. So anyway, they're coming back nicely here. It's been a week since we had a good flush and hit it with just the basics of chemicals. Right now the ppms are out 1300, and our pH here is riding around 5.9, 6.1. It went up as high as 6.3 yesterday, and this morning we changed it and bumped it down to about 5.9. And I know probably it'll climb up to about 6.0, 6.1 by tomorrow. But that should sustain them pretty well and keep this lush green color and trigger them back into a more vigorous growth. Right now, to keep the closet a little more cooler, I've initiated the flowering cycle of these plants. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Flowering cycle, and so now they're under 9 hours of light, and the rest is darkness. So that was the intended plan from the beginning to use the gas lantern technique. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the complete gas lantern technique like I wanted to as far as the flowering is concerned, only because our room is already running in the schedule as far as time is concerned. I didn't want to stop or interrupt another flowerings and ruin that whole cycle. Anyway, so these girls are doing really well right now. They're in their second day of flowering. This is, like I said, 2 days off into flowering. Not really concerned too much about the flowering. Just more want to see them come back into a more vigorous growth now. And so let's keep on moving on. Also, we changed the light in here. As you can see, it's a small LED, and that was borrowed from one of our good friends and teacher grower. Anyway, the T5s are out of there. The closet's a little nice and cooler. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. That light's supposed to be really well and do well. Alright, so let's move along. Let's move back to the room. I don't know if you guys remember from before, we had harvested the 2 cushes. I have some beautiful pictures of pre-harvest, post-harvest, post-trimming, and then also right after its drying stage and curing.